But this is the Brownlee brothers, Olympic gold and bronze medal winners. Good to see you here, guys. And as always, I just want to look around the corner, being competitive with each other yet again. So dare we ask who won the SEAT challenge round there?
I don't like to talk about it really. Now Alistair false started. I want to go back to look at the video again and see what happened, but I think he false started. It's
normally you that gets the penalties, Johnny, so you know, let's be fair. But so it looks first of all, great to see you. We'll get one question out of the way first, because we always have to ask this. Injuries, non-injuries, I hope, touch wood from what I hear, all good at the moment? How's the winter gone for you guys?
Yeah, it's actually been alright, hasn't it?
Yeah, touch wood.
Yeah, it's not very often we can say that, but so far, I mean, it's been quite a short winter so far. You know, we're only still in the middle of February, but we're planning to race early, only 3 weeks away in Abu Dhabi, so we've been training quite hard. We've spent quite a lot of time away, because it's pretty hard to prepare to race in Abu Dhabi in early March, coming straight from a winter in Leeds, so we have spent a bit more time away than normal, but it's been good. We've done a lot of quite hard training, and we're both 100% injury free and both been training well now for a good few months, so hopefully Abu Dhabi will be good, but then we're both going to Auckland, which you know, we're both hoping we should be in really good shape for.
Excellent, and I've seen that both of you have been doing a few little events that you tend to do over the winter, your local runs and a few cross countries and stuff. Next week, I believe, is the national cross country. Any chance we're going to see one or both of you there? Any last minute decisions on that at Parliament Hill, I believe, this year?
Yeah, we thought about doing it because the national cross country is one of these events that you grow up as a kid racing the under 13s. It's incredible, and I did the senior race last year. And I wanted to do the senior race at Parliament Hill and start with 2,000 people and the ground rumbling. It's absolutely incredible, but unfortunately this year it's not the best preparation for a 5k triathlon in 2 weeks in the heat is a 12k race in the mud in Parliament Hill, so I'm probably not going to do it, which is a bit of a shame, but once my triathlon career is over, I'm definitely going to do a lot more national cross country champs, because it's incredible.
One of the things that I find amazing about you guys, I recently read your book. I apologise, I had it on the shelf. It's
Only
been
recently?
for a couple of years. And I have to say, A, it was good, really good, and B, they haven't asked me to mention that. I don't even know if it's on sale here, but genuinely, it's a really good read. Now, I know lots of people here will be going, they want to go, what's the secret? What's the, you know, there's a key session, there's some secret. And the one takeaway I took away from that was the only secret is you guys just love what you're doing, and pretty much everything stems from that and being outdoors. So just tell us about that background, because that just seems to be where everything that is followed in terms of success in racing comes from.
Yeah, sometimes, I guess like everyone else, I wish there was a secret. I wish you could go home tomorrow, do a session and you'd be in flying shape in 3 weeks time, but it doesn't work like that, unfortunately. And so yeah, it does stem from the fact that it's consistency week in, week out, and to be consistent week in, week out and day in, day out, you have to enjoy what you're doing. And we're both very, very fortunate that we enjoy what we're doing. I think it's something that was built into us from being young, enjoying being outside, active, enjoying the countryside, enjoying the aspect of training with each other, and a great group of friends we've got. And that's really the basis to everything we do, thankfully. You'd never ever say you enjoy absolutely everything you do. Getting up, that first dive in the morning, we're diving the pool at 7 o'clock and the water's cold. I don't think there's many people who enjoy that. And those days when you're out and you're an hour away from home and it's raining, or those tough sessions when you're not feeling your best. But 90-95% of the time, day in, day out, you're enjoying what you're doing, and it's a great way to live your life. So we're very, very lucky, really.
And one of the other things that I found really interesting was how much, I won't say luck, but circumstance seemed to play a big part in your life. And one key bit seemed to be, I think it was your father had a job offer and potentially was going to move house. That would have meant that you moved from where you were living. That didn't take that job, and by not taking that meant so many other things just happened to fall in place in terms of where swimming clubs were, where training partners were, and almost if he'd taken that job, we don't know whether we would have had Brownlee Brothers Triathlon now. So again, just touch briefly on that and how important it is just to have that network, as you say, of friends, advisors, coaches, people to kick you up the arse. All that other stuff has been in getting you to where you are now.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that we actually noticed from doing the book, was when we look back on it, how many things had to fall into place and how many of them weren't decisions, they were luck. Things like we went to school and the school lunchtime was 75 minutes long. So 75 minutes just happened to be a perfect time to finish your lessons, put your running kit on, go for a run, get a shower, get some lunch and go to lessons again. We went to a school where a swimming club swam after school at 4:30, and we just happened to finish school at 4. Go to the ice cream van, get some sweets, go to the swimming club, be home by half 6, 7. Little things like that. At school, we happened to have a great running teacher who loved people going out running and said you can run all over Bradford. It wasn't a school way to stay on the grounds. I spent 70 minutes running around the whole of Bradford, getting lost everywhere throughout my whole school career, and things like that. And then meeting certain training partners along the way. The fact that in Leeds there's a great chain gang that meets just at a random place on a Tuesday and a Thursday, and through that chain gang 4 or 5 professional cyclists that come out of that, and other triathletes, and that's just pure luck. And then other cyclists that we've met just cycling through the Dales, and then we train with now. Lots of things like that which have made our life far easier and got us to this point. And having Alistair as well, I suppose you could say that's luck. I don't know, you got to ask my parents, do you? But having Alistair for me, obviously, again, is another one of those things which it helped me massively. There's probably 15, 20 of these things that we can say were so important.
We know that you're really competitive. That comes across in the book. We've seen that on the roller palooza around there. But one of the things that you talk about, and it seems that you got sorted fairly early, is you realise that yes, you want to be competitive, but if you're training with each other every day, multiple times a day, you can't really go racing each other and killing each other every day. I'm sure you may have tried to do that at the start. So at what point did you sort of realise that and get to a point where you know that one day somebody is going to be beating you because you're having a good day, the next day it'll be the other way around, and that's just normal without having to smash each other every time?
I think it's a long, slow realisation from being quite young, when we go out almost every day, whether it was a run or a ride, and try and kill each other or drop each other up a hill or whatever. Or I was more trying to kill Johnny, he was trying to keep up. And that's 8, 9, 10 years old, and then you're training more and more, and then actually at some point when you start kind of training properly, for us it was 16, 17, 18, you're training lots of hours, you start to realise, wait a minute, if I kill him today, I'm not actually going to be able to do my training tomorrow. So it's a long, slow realisation, and it's one of those things that I think you have to realise yourself, right, actually day in, day out, I'm going to do the training I'm set, and then or I'm setting, and then on the days that are hard, they're the days that you really, really have to push. And we're both kind of massive believers in really polarised training, so it's either really quite easy or really, really quite hard. And then we know that our big advantage over everyone else is when it's hard, we've got each other to push each other, and then we can try and kill each other. But to be honest, more and more that is quite a bit of a rarity. We're only doing sessions that are absolutely at the top of our ability, where we could actually push each other really rarely, once a month or something. We don't do sessions like that very often at all anymore. So but yeah, it's been a long, slow process, like anything in sport. You learn and you change things.
Let's talk about the Olympics, because that's the biggest thing in sport, and a lot of the discussion before the Olympics unfortunately was about Alistair and his ankle or Achilles and injuries and stuff. But one of the bits that I wanted to touch on that didn't get discussed so much, but I think was quite important, particularly for you, Johnny, was at that point, in those previous 2 years, you'd start to make your mark on the senior circuit. You've got some results and been on podiums, but that year, certainly at the beginning of the year, when you went to San Diego, you went to Madrid, the fact that Alistair wasn't there, and almost like, rather than just being the Brownlee brothers, it was, well, now it's just me, and that you performed and that you won. Do you think that was a real key element of your career that was like, yeah, I can stand there on my own without him, and people realise, oh, bugger, even without him, he's still bloody good.
Yeah, well, leading to 2012 it happened very quickly. I was a junior in 2009. 2010 I started racing my first World Series, and then 2012 came along very, very quickly, and there I was on the start line of the World Series. I mean this Olympic year that's going to be a crazy year, and I was there without Alistair, without Gomez, and I'm going to turn to this races thinking, I'm doing well, but there's not Alistair and there's not Gomez, so it's not really a true test, and that did teach me to win races, but at the same time, in the back of my mind, I thought about August 2012 and thought, when it comes down to Olympics, it's going to be completely different. But having me there, it was great, winning them races, like I say, and Alistair being at home, getting injured, and seeing me winning those races actually helped him massively as well, I think, because it meant that when he started training again, he wasn't comparing himself to some random guy now. He started training again in kind of April, May time, and he was already close to beating me, so that helped him massively, the fact that he wasn't like, this is London 2012, everyone's so much faster, he's just normal again, which I think was very, very important for him. And then obviously the Olympics came around again, it came around so quickly in August, and it was an incredible day. He'd been talked about for years before, and then to stand on that start line with 500,000 people shouting for you, it was absolutely amazing. It was very stressful. When I got my penalty, I remember thinking, Johnny, what have you done now? You've wrecked it. If you lose the medal by 5 seconds, you're never going to forget about it. But luckily, I got bronze, and it was, like I say, it was an incredible day. But already we're talking about 2016.
Anyone who knows the sport, watched the racing, thinks it was lucky you got the bronze. You more than deserve that bronze. But at that point, when you got that penalty, and Alistair, you'll have seen that Johnny had the penalty. The fact that you were brothers in that same race, did you do anything or say anything or to maybe calm Johnny down when maybe he's freaking out a bit, because Johnny, he likes the OCD, he likes things ordered. It's normally you that's a little bit more laissez-faire or whatever. Did you just say to him, forget it, deal with it?
Yeah, I mean, I knew I had a penalty. We talked about it so much, but you couldn't actually talk to each other around most of the course because it was so loud. And there was like a 100-metre stretch over Hyde Park Bridge where you could have a quick five or six words. And I straight away told Stu to make sure that Stu was pushing the pace, to make sure the guys who could run in the pack behind us, I think we had about a minute 70 seconds at the time, they weren't coming back into the race. I thought, Johnny has a bad day, they come back into the race, that 15 seconds cost him a medal, so I wanted to make that gap as big as I could. Took a bit of pressure off Stu by attacking a bit myself, and just told Johnny, I said, I still think you're 15 seconds faster than anyone else anyway, you've just got to run your own race now. And we just went out and did it then. We just kind of had a few words on the last lap, kind of a good look, and cracked on and ran, and that was it. To be honest, I knew after the first lap we'd got bronze anyway. He's dramatised it so much since, but he had 18 seconds on 4th place after 2.5k. I was thinking, he's got 3rd place, hasn't he? So.
And let's just touch a bit on that Olympic experience, because from the outside, we watch the Olympics, we see the swimming, the athletics, we all know all of those big names of the Redgraves and the Sally Gunnells and all of those people that we put on pedestals. You're now one of those, Brit that's got a gold medal. But reading the book and speaking to you since, what was quite interesting was, at least immediately, it was, I won't say a letdown, but that whole specialty that you would think it's going to be, because there's so much going on, it actually took you a while before maybe you could look back and appreciate it a bit more. So just tell us what it's like, having had that as a goal, you've overcome all those difficulties, you've won the medal, and then what the next step in reality is.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, London was an absolutely massive thing for me. It's impossible quite to say how big it was. I remember the day it was announced that London had won the bid in 2005. I was still at school. It was 7 years away, and it felt like a million miles, and I wasn't even in the right world to be competing for Olympic medals. But it was still there, and you know, it was an idea and a goal, even though I thought it was impossible at the time. So, you know, for 7 years, I probably thought of it most days in some ways, and obviously you have ups and downs along the way, and it goes away and comes back into focus. But yeah, when you're still on that start line, you know that quite a big proportion of your life has been to train as hard as you can for that day. And I knew it'd never come around again. I knew there'd be another Olympics, but I might not go to another Olympics. I knew there'd never be another home Olympics. But fortunately, you know, I was really, really lucky to stand on that start line, knowing that I was in the best possible shape I could be in. And that's the battle, really. Once you've done that, you go out and you race. You race it like any other race, and you cross the finish line, and you kind of fall over a bit, and you know, prance around and think, oh god, that was the Olympics, and it kind of hits you. But you never ever get time to soak it in. You know, you're on an absolute conveyor belt of doing events, up late, up early in the morning, and it wasn't really until a few days after, and you kind of go home and you sit on your sofa, and even then you're still busy. That you think, you know, wow, that's the Olympics. That's what you do it for, and it's like, but is that it? You know, I've spent 7 years trying to achieve this goal, and now I've done it, and I've got a nice little medal, but that's about it. But yeah,
it's quite a big medal though.
Yeah, it's quite a big medal, yeah. And it comes around though. You know, I think it did take literally a few months. I'd never ever be the kind of person before to say it takes a bit of time to sink in. I thought that was a load of rubbish. You win a race, you enjoy it, and that's it. But you know, it did take a bit of time, a few months to sink in. I think, you know, well, that's a fantastic achievement. But also on the other hand, you know, it's time to move on and set new goals and try and achieve other things.
And you'd obviously had the Olympic experience in Beijing, where you went, I think you were 20 at the time, and you actually mentioned something that I was going to ask you. At the point where you get to the start line and the hooter goes, despite everything that's going on, it's still 1500 metres, 40k, 10k. It's on the same course that you did last year, on the same roads that you know, you're racing the same people, riding the same bike and the same kit. Is it easy, just with all of those external factors, mostly people like us going, are you going to win, are you going to win, are you fit, to actually just realise it's the same race against the same people? And were you able to help Johnny with your experience to sort of pass some of that on with him as a first-time Olympian?
Yeah, well, in some ways Beijing was absolutely brilliant for me. I was 20 years old, I was never in a million years expected to qualify, and I was a complete underdog. I was kind of confident that, you know, I could race well, even though no one else had that much confidence in me, and I had no expectations or pressure. That's a dream Olympic scenario, you know, you can just go and do whatever you want, and I did. And but on the other hand, I hadn't even raced in a senior championship at that point. I'd been to 1 European Championships early in that year, you know, not been a world champ. The World Cup, it was a World Cup then, so not even like it is now, and so it was a massive thing for me, you know, turning up to the Olympics without really any proper championship experience, and it gets built up and talked about, and you go on the preparation camp, and you know, to this and that, and the, you know, the kit drops, all that kind of thing, and then yeah, I had a real realisation on the start line that yeah, it's still got that dreaded blue carpet, and I think it was the same hooter, and you know, I got the same.
There's a heartbeat going.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The same stuff,
just to make you more nervous.
I hate that heartbeat.
Yeah, I have nightmares about that. And there's the same people either side of you. So it is just a race, and yeah, I think more than anything, that was our approach going to London. Yeah, we wanted the really finely struck balance between it's a race like any other race. We'd raced on that course, you know, since I was young, since I was 18 or maybe even younger at the Super Series as it was then or whatever, and raced the exact course the year before, stayed in an exact hotel. So we wanted it to be familiar, but at the same time you wanted that boost of the fact that it was the Olympics. You know, you wanted to feel inspired and hope, and the crowd to push you on that little bit more. So it's a really, really fine balance to run, and I think, well, fortunately, we pulled it off quite well last time.
Quite well. Do you think they did it quite well? I think they did it pretty bloody well. I've spoken to both of you guys in the past, and you say, all right, what's the dream course? And most of the time you go, right, we have a really hard swim, you know, push the pace, get on our bikes, and a whacking great hill outside of T1 that we can go up and down lots and lots of times. Now, I don't know the detail, but from what I hear, Rio is probably not too far away from that. So, A, what do you know about the course, and B, does that excite you that you potentially, with your strengths, go into a course that would be one that would be close, perhaps, to what you would design yourself?
Yeah, we always want a hard course because we always want this pure race where you can't have people sat on behind you on the bike. We can really use our strengths. We are growing up in Yorkshire, and we've heard rumours of the course, but we'll know for definite when we race there in the test event this year in July time. But as far as we know, it's a sea swim, which makes it hard. You run up the beach, which makes it hard, and then there's probably about a K or so until a really, really big hill, which gets up, we've heard rumours of 25% for decent length, and then again it goes downhill, up another hill, 8 times, and there's rumours that it's one of the hardest triathlon courses ever, which again should suit us, and it's very, very exciting, because the London Olympics was a great course, because all the people who came out to watch it made it a great course, but it was flat and fast, so to have Rio as something completely different is very, very exciting. And if it is, from what we've heard, there won't be big packs. It'll be packs of 4, 5, 6 people, not many. Hopefully not Gomez there. But yeah, it should be a very, very interesting race, and it should be great for triathlon, because if we can have a triathlon course where it is a pure race of really, really exciting bike, really exciting run, it will be a great Olympics.
I think it will, and we spoke about this, I think it was the day after you'd won the gold medal, and you said, despite the course in London for the Olympics, it turned into a pure race where you had what were the best 3 athletes on the day got the medals, and that's what we want. So hopefully we'll see that again. Let's just talk about the two of you and your relationship. Up until the Olympics, you were living in Ali's house, not paying any rent, I believe.
That's debatable. I kind of didn't.
And then after the Olympics, I think you got your own house just around the corner and moved out. Did that change much in terms of your relationship? I know it's only 400 yards, different house, but obviously you've been so close as brothers, but also as training partners. What, if anything, changed through that?
I think leading into the Olympics was actually quite nice living together. Not when Alistair got injured, because that was an absolute nightmare. He was the worst person in the world to live next to live with, and for me to go out training was actually quite hard. But then into Olympics, going through it together was really, really nice. But then after Olympics, I felt that I needed a bit of my own space. And Alistair's house, no offence to his house, but was a bit too small to have all our bikes, all our kit, and everything like that. So I needed my own space. I needed to become my own person as well. So I'm a lot more of a tidy person. I like to have things more organised, whereas Alistair doesn't. And I got sick of waking up in the morning to go out cycling, and Alistair's stole my gloves or my overshoes or something like that. So
at least he didn't steal your bike, because I believe he did that in one race.
Yeah, he did that as well once in a French race. I jumped on my bike and thought, this bike's a little bit too big for me, and then tasted my drink bottle and thought, that's not my drink bottle as well, because and Alistair stole my bike. But yeah, after Olympics, moving out it's a good thing for me, and it hasn't changed much. It's brought us close together now, because I think we fall out less over things like washing up, or not doing simple things. Alistair leaving, not washing his clothes or things like that, and we actually don't fall out over those things anymore. We spend a lot more quality time together.
I think it might be time for Alistair to defend himself here. So Alistair, tell us about Johnny's weaknesses.
Yeah,
I haven't got any.
Yeah, I don't think I need to. I think he's just laid it all out perfectly there, hasn't he? Who would want to live with that? Nick a glove once and you forever get it hauled against you.
Once.
Let's talk about this upcoming season. Last year, I think you, along with many of the pros, were not disgruntled, probably a fair comment, about how the season was structured, in terms of there was lots of races, all very disparate, and also with fairly big gaps between them, so it's quite difficult to travel to races. Happier with how the season is this year?
I think the structure of the season is better. I think the structure of the World Series, I think, is still tough. I think to expect people to race well across 6, 7, 8 months now, and potentially 10 races with other races thrown in, is always going to be tough. But I think the structure is very important, being able to do races like, hopefully, if we can do Abu Dhabi, Auckland and the one in Australia, at least you can do them on a bounce, have a bit of a rest and then refocus for later on. But yeah, the World Series is a changing thing, and I think it's kind of going away a little bit from what it used to be. I think it needs to be, the races need to be cut down. It wants the best fields in all the races, maybe only 5, 6 races, different courses, big cities that are real, genuinely fantastic places to have triathlons. And I think that's where the World Series should go, rather than expanding it as such. But you've also got to look at, it is actually really good that so many cities want the World Series. Even just the fact that Abu Dhabi is a fantastic example of a city where it's a major event player and it wants to put on a Triathlon World Series. I think that's a brilliant sign for the sport. So you can't complain too much. But yeah, this year I think we kind of, if you want to be competitive in the World Series, we've learned from our mistakes in the past where I think I've lost it by not going to the early races particularly, and Johnny's lost it by going to the early races and not being as fit as he could be possibly. You've got to hit races and you've got to hit them well, and not just kind of get away and blag later ones, and then if you miss a race later on, you kind of lost out in terms of the points. So that's why we're racing a bit earlier. And this year the focus is Rio, really, so that's not even a World Series race. But that's
they've been very clever on that. They said it's not a World Series race and there's no prize money, but you've all got to go. So they seem to have got you by the short and curlies there.
You have. Well, you'd be bonkers if you're serious about competing in the Olympic Games, not going to the test event, and that'll make it an interesting field as well. But the test event's important. It's important that we qualify there firstly. You want to get the qualification out of the way as early as possible. It's important that you go down and maybe lay a bit of a mark and you have a great race in the Olympic course, as we both did last time. So hopefully that'll be good, and it's important to kind of trial run exactly how it'll go the year after. So in terms of where you train, when you train, if you use altitude or heat preparation, or how late you fly in. So we'll be looking at all those kind of things and trying to get that right for Rio this year.
One of the things that has seemed to have developed, and we've seen it more and more, and you guys have been involved in them, is the frequency with which your races, which in principle are endurance races, hour 45, hour 50, are coming down to that last 100 metres to sprint finishes, and several times with 4, 5, 6 people, as we saw in London. Just preparing for those, can you actually make that now a key part of your preparation, because you know that during the season the chances are you're going to be involved in those? Is that something that you've had to add to your training, or do you just try and be so good that you avoid those?
Yeah, well, we don't necessarily do a massive amount of sprint training at the end, but a lot of our training is very fast. We're not like some triathletes that don't train on the track. We do a lot of kind of specific 5k, 3k work on the track, and that does involve a lot of fast running. So whereas we don't, like I say, practice going down the finishing straight and anything like that, a lot of our training is done very, very fast. So I like to think that I have got the speed, but we want next year to make it so that the races are so hard that it doesn't come down to that firstly, because at the end of the day, when it comes down to a sprint finish, you might have the best sprint finish in the world, but it is a bit of luck on that blue carpet. The blue carpet, it can be quite hard to run on. It can be quite bumpy, and sprinting down there is actually quite tough. So ideally, in the Olympic Games, you don't want to have it all coming down to that last bit. So if we can try and stop that, then that's the perfect scenario.
One of the things that you've both sort of included within your schedules, certainly over the last couple of years, Alistair, you've done a little bit of the track racing with the 10k that you did. You've experimented a bit with going to the Abu Dhabi race with the longer distances. Now that we're this season and then we're into Olympic racing, will there be any scope to do anything like that, or will this year and the next 18 months be very much focused on your core discipline?
Yeah, no, over the last couple of years, purposely, I especially have tried to vary and do a few different things. You know, I love triathlon, but I've done it for a long time, and I think it was good to go away and try some different types of racing. But yeah, now it's kind of narrowing the focus again, really focusing on Olympic distance racing, being as good as you can at Olympic distance racing, being injury-free, consistent training for the next 18 months, and doing everything we can to basically prepare for that one day in Rio in terms of fitness, travel, all the logistics, all that kind of thing. And yeah, I think that's the way you've got to look at the Olympics now. You've got to focus on that one day, and I think to do too much would just be silly. You know, you could always look back and regret it. Hopefully, touch wood, I'll be able to experiment again after the next Olympics and try some new things.
And that going to be the same for you, Johnny? Now, are we sort of moving into that focused mode and stay true to your core for this 18 months?
Yeah, like Alistair says, it starts to get serious now, and the World Series as it is now, there's enough races out there to fit. You can't really fit anything else in. I'd absolutely love to do some long distance stuff. I race 20 times a year, but I can't do that. Some people can. Yeah, Gomez seems to be able to do it somehow. I don't really know how, but I can't race that much. I need those training blocks in between. So now it is all about preparing for Rio 2016.
You mentioned Gomez there. It's difficult to really talk about you two without talking about him, just because of the impact that, you know, I've written about it extensively, but the impact that the three of you have had on the sport has been phenomenal. I wrote that piece last year, and I described Gomez as Federer, Alistair as Nadal, yourself as Djokovic, in terms of the comparison with...
Djokovic is doing well now as well, isn't he?
So I was just going to say, are you really happy now being Djokovic? Because, you know, Nadal is shaking a bit.
He's struggling now.
He's got loads of bad injuries, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's fine for me, because Djokovic has started winning, hasn't he? And he's the best at the moment, so I'll take that. Yeah, but having Gomez there for us, well, for Alistair coming through first, has been great for us, having that rival, that person who every single race I turn up to, I know he's going to be there. I know that in the swim he's going to be there, on the bike, apart from Stockholm, he's going to be there, and he's going to be pushing me the whole way, and that has helped. It's helped me become, train harder at home, improve, have to change minor things, so it's been really, really good having him there. Can be a bit of a pain sometimes, but most of the time to have that person
particularly those bloody sprint finishes the last couple of years, but we won't mention the tactical numpty anyway. So aside from the three of you, who do you see as potentially your main rivals? Or you've got some youngsters now who are starting to show through. A few new names started appearing on the podium last year. Are there any others that you think that we should have our eyes on, that are going to be going for your guys' heels?
I think the obvious ones are Mario Mola and Richard Murray. Apart from that,
there's a few French guys coming through.
Possible.
Yeah, the French have a great setup through their club racing, and they always get a few very, very good youngsters coming through. But triathlon, one great thing at the moment about the World Series is it is changing all the time, and it is getting more competitive at the front and a lot closer. So wait and see, I suppose. But yeah, there's definitely a few more coming through.
Okay, what we're going to do now, we've just got a few moments left. It'd be good to get some input from you guys. You've heard me. Hopefully you're still awake, most people, so that's good. It'd be good to just get a couple of questions from the audience. This is your chance to ask anything, how to train, how to dance, how to do whatever.
Yeah.
So we have a hand up there, so let's just get a couple of audience questions. Is it right during your prep for 2012 that you sleep in an oxygen tent?
Well, yeah, an altitude tent. So, yeah, just to simulate being at altitude, really. So it takes oxygen out of the air to allow you to sleep overnight, spend 8-10 hours in a tent with low oxygen in to try and get the benefits of being at altitude, but still training at sea level and being at home.
If you were giving advice to someone who's not sort of in the same league as you, who are into triathlons, what one piece of advice would you give them?
Boring, consistency.
Yeah, consistent training is the most important. We always say that. There's no point training 20 hours and then 2 hours. If you can just stabilise at a nice constant whatever you can, whether that's 10 hours, 8 hours, then just do that week in, week out. Find a friend training as well. A friend or a club. I've got Alistair, and it makes a big difference on those cold mornings.
You must have to eat like so much to keep the training going. Do you go for quality or quantity, or try and what kind of eat in the day?
A bit of both, really. Yeah, we both just try to healthy, normal diets as such. We try and stick to more 3 main meals rather than eat lots of little things. Sometimes when we quite often train through the day, but when we train through the day, we'll often, if we're on our bikes and stuff, we'll stop and eat a bit more than normal. We always make sure we have a good breakfast and a good evening meal, especially, a good evening meal is really important. Obviously a bit more, but maybe, you have to replace that amount of calories, you end up having to eat a bits of, sweet stuff, blackjack, chocolate, whatever, energy products, but we try and replace it with good food, so a bit more protein than normal. We think that's important for muscle repair. Drinking, recovery after hard sessions is especially important, so some kind of recovery drink or milk is really good. But yeah, generally just a healthy diet, just a bit more.
I think one thing we should mention just before we sort of wrap up, you're very big into promoting that. We talked about at the start, that enjoyment of the outdoors. You've got your own events, which I've been to all of those and been part of those. And I know you really enjoy seeing people, irrespective whether they're complete novices or they're racing for first place, being out there. So just tell us about your input into that and how you see that sort of growing in the future.
Yeah, I think one of the fantastic things about triathlon over the last few years is it's gone from being a bit of a niche kind of anorak sport to almost being seen as something anyone can have a go at, and that's one of the things we're really trying to push, especially with our own events, and trying to put on an event or events that just encourage and inspire people that it's about doing a triathlon that anyone can do, but it's an enjoyable day out that you can kind of do with a family, and it's in somewhere really nice. It's in the Yorkshire countryside, just north of Leeds, and that's something we're really trying to push and inspire people to do, and kind of find the enjoyment that we have over the years. So that's something we've really enjoyed in the last few years, and hopefully it's going to continue.
So guys, thank you very much for your time. I understand from my note, thank you Richard, you're going to be heading over to the Sayat Cafe, is that correct Richard? Yeah. So if you want autographs, photographs, all of that stuff, follow them, you can spot them, got the Adidas kits on, they'll be going over to the Sayat Cafe. Again, put your hands together please for our world famous Brownlee brothers.
Thank you.